Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
राज, बाबूजी के आशीर्वाद से हमने अपनी नई शुरुआत तो कर ली, पर अपना फ्यूचर प्लान कैसे करें?
बड़े बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं।
Looking for perfect start? Get a Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
जब मैं तेरी उम्र का था ना, तो एक सक्सेसफुल करियर, लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग सब रेडी करके रख चुका था। और एक इन महाराज को देखो, पूरा दिन फोन में लगा रहेगा।
दैट प्लानिंग तो मैंने भी कर रखी है, Unocoin के साथ।
नए जमाने के साथ नई चीजें आजमाएं। Looking for Bitcoin? Download the Unocoin app.
Guys, we really need to work hard. This wasn't a good quarter. Tell me, are you happy with this?
Unocoin.
Want to earn Bitcoin? Just grab your phone and shake it. Download the Unocoin app.
Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the Unocoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
Okay, so we are live once again with all of you guys, and I know it's been a long time since we have live on a video telecast where we discuss different things with you. But guys, today's discussion is definitely going to be very, very, very interesting because we have our favorite speaker today, Mr. Sunny Ray, the president and the co-founder of Unocoin, your favorite crypto exchange. Hi, Sunny, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Shambhavi?
I'm good. I'm super thrilled. I was just reading about ETF approval this morning and how the whole market sentiment is just on the edge because of it. And it's so interesting. And we already have some comments. I think Chief Gaming Officer over here wanted to say that. Please start. Okay. So, Chief Gaming Officer, if you have any questions, just drop them down in the comment section and we'll be happy to answer it for you. Now, moving forward, Sunny, with the whole ETF thing happening, I know we have discussed a little about this in the past, and it's always very interesting to see what new and upcoming things are here in the market. So, what is your feeling of sentiment, excitement about this whole ETF thing coming in?
I mean, I think without trying to sound too repetitive, yeah, I think it's exciting. I think there's, I mean, long story short, we've got demand potentially increasing considerably with what 10 ETFs or whatever it is coming online. And people like Kathy Wood and a lot of these prolific kind of people in the world, Larry Fink, and people that a lot of people look up to are saying, hey, no, Bitcoin's the future. We're bringing ETFs online, and people are expecting a lot of demand and interest, and people that weren't maybe necessarily able to get into Bitcoin or wanting to get into Bitcoin for whatever reason are now able to consider it. So I think on one side you've got exponentially increasing demand, and given the year that we just had, what is it? It's up 150%, right? Bitcoin this year, right? So not a small matter, but that's kind of big. And so I think with that kind of in the tailwind, you've got in the forward-looking kind of view, we've got things such as the ETFs coming online, and then the other thing you and I talked about this year quite a bit, which is the halvening, right? So it's like you have demand going up, you have supply going down. Again, we don't know what the future holds. We can't make any promises here, but if you understand the basics of supply and demand and how that affects price, then there is a kind of a feeling in the air that a lot of people are saying, hey, Bitcoin might just start mooning next year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just this morning, Sunny, I don't know if you are aware of this news, but the Bitcoin mining firm, I think it's called Marathon Digital, and it surpassed Apple's and Tesla's day trading volume, and in terms of stocks. So you see, I mean, I was so thrilled to look at that news because personally, it's a big thing. Okay, surpassing Apple and Tesla in terms of stock prices and day trading volume is supreme.
Yeah,
And
what's the name? What's the name of the one? I hadn't heard about that one. What's the name of the mining company?
Marathon Digital.
What?
Marathon Digital.
Marathon. Okay, cool. That's great. Yes. Oh, I mean, when Bitcoin actually finds its groove, it kind of just like keeps breaking records, right, every day, and it starts like blowing people away and does things that people never thought was possible before. I'm just on their website. It looks pretty interesting. Cool. Yeah, I'll look at it. Mara price $31 on the Nasdaq. So
It's very
Bitcoin's back.
Bitcoin has always been here. I never,
Yes, we never gave up, right? Our talks were always about Bitcoin. That's the one thing we kept talking about.
exactly, exactly. And I was just gonna say that because okay, so we have Chief Gaming Officer here. I think he's sending a lot of emojis in the comment section. The virtual hug one. Okay, so a virtual hug from our side as well, Chief Gaming Officer, and to everyone else watching the CMA, guys. If you have any questions and any opinions, any discussions you want to start, comment section is open. Just drop down your feelings, and we'd love to discuss on that. Yeah, coming back to Bitcoin, Sunny, and so there was this very interesting panel that happened at Metamorphosis this year during the IBW week, and over there it was about content creators and the kind of content they're promoting online. In the middle of that, a very intellectual person, he brought up this point saying that people do not understand while promoting these other projects that Bitcoin is the sole cause why they exist today in the first place. And to all those people who are kind of doing projects, coming up with things, I mean, those are great things, those have great utilities, but always a percentage of it should be allocated to the education surrounding Bitcoin. And I was thrilled to hear that. What do you think about that?
Yes, I'm a big believer in that, as you know. I mean, I in my 10 years here, I think, oh, by the way, this is our 10-year anniversary.
Yes,
Yeah,
guys.
we haven't, yeah. Maybe we should talk about that. Yeah. But
I wanted to so badly. Last time we couldn't do it because there were a lot of technical issues that happened during that AMA. But sure, I mean, since you are here and you are the person, the rock solid person who took care of things alongside Satvik, Harish, and Abhinand. So tell me about it. Like, how did you start? What was the feeling? What was the
hmm.
skepticism around it? How did it
Yeah.
go?
Well, I don't want to miss your other question either. So maybe I'll try and answer that really quickly. But if you look through the last 10, 12 years of my YouTube, whatever you want to call it, like things that I do on YouTube, on Twitter, I've been, I would say 99.99% focused on the Bitcoin cause. Yeah. And it's not to say that I don't like other things. It's just that like my interest just pulls me towards Bitcoin, and for the same reason you just said, because it's the original gangster. Yeah. It's the one that made all this possible. And yeah, I think it's the original coin. Yeah. It's the one that went from 0 to 1. It's what did things that prior to Bitcoin nobody thought was possible. And it's the one that Elon Musk and Tesla and Fidelity and BlackRock and now El Salvador and Argentina, and I mean, it just keeps going. I mean, every single year I'm like, okay, this is peak Bitcoin. Like, there's no way we're gonna outperform big. Okay, it's back again. It's back again. And so it's the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah. And so I do definitely agree with that sentiment that for people who are educating people about crypto, Web3, it's important to start with the basics. And I personally believe if you can't appreciate Bitcoin for all of its, all the wisdom and like decentralization and open source and just the movement at large, I think you're kind of like I don't know. For me, I would feel very lost, because there are, for better or worse, there are, projects that come and go. There's like things that happen, and that, and so Bitcoin's been that one that's been like, it's like a pillar almost, like a foundation for this entire industry. And so for that reason, and a lot of people kind of lose their love for Bitcoin because it's been around for so long, right? 12, 13 years. They find it boring, or they want to catch the next wave and be seen as like an innovator or something. So I find like, it's important not to get bored about this revolution. And 10 years is not a very long time in the span of like as long as money's been around, let's say. Yeah. So to have something that even has the potential to disrupt the global reserve currency status of the US dollar, I think is phenomenally exciting.
Yes.
I don't think the threats are behind us. I do think that as Bitcoin bubbles up and the price starts shooting up, that makes a lot of government officials and regulators, their ears perk up and they clamp down even harder. And so, I think it's going to be a back and forth kind of battle between, the free markets and people who are trying to bring it, down. But at the same time, Bitcoin has reached such a mass kind of appeal. It's just in so many people's hands now that regulation is kind of inevitable, and whether we like it or not, whether we support it or not, regulations are here. And and I think every crypto exchange is trying their best to adhere to the regulations, the tax laws, the KYC, AML. And ultimately, like people like me, I'm so interested in Bitcoin and love Bitcoin, but not at the expense of like doing bad things, right? Like, so if someone's going to do something terrible and it's against the law, we're going to work with police. Like, we have no problems with, police officers and regulators. We think they're doing their job. And yeah. And so anyways, I'm super, super excited about Bitcoin. I'm delighted to be a part of Unocoin. Like you said, we started this, I think this month marks our 10-year anniversary. So I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm overjoyed by it. I think I'm excited, but I also kind of believe that, the last 10 years has just been, preparation for what's to come. And I think people, Unocoin traditionally has been kind of seen as a bit of a, like, we're more like the slow and steady wins the race. The whole thing about the rabbit and the turtle. Some might equate us a bit more to the turtle, but that's been kind of one of our weaknesses. But I would also say one of our strengths, because
Strength. Any day.
Yeah. I mean, from a customer perspective, I can see the annoyance around perhaps, oh, why do I have to do all this KYC? Like, and we were doing this stuff 10 years ago, right? Even before it was, a requirement.
Yeah.
Oh, well, why are we working, hand in hand with the government, let's say, on ensuring that taxes get paid? Well, we don't have a choice. This is the law of the land. Why are we working towards minimizing, money laundering and these other nefarious activities? Again, the rules are in place now. And so Unocoin is, we've taken that stuff very seriously. And I think that's, again, one of the reasons that, Unocoin, for example, I'm really, really proud to say we have never shut crypto withdrawals or Bitcoin withdrawals on our system. Yeah. A lot of our competitors do not allow you to remove your Bitcoin off of their platform, which to us is That's unthinkable, and it's something that
That's against one of the natures of cryptocurrency altogether, like the ownership of the asset and having it your way.
not your keys, not your coins, right? That is literally one of the biggest sayings. And so for us, it's quite disheartening to see that that's what's taken place amongst some of the bigger players in India. But rest assured that, Satvik, Harish, our team at large works really hard to ensure that we're following the rules, we're following the regulations, we follow, we make sure we work in hand with the banks, and we make sure that the principles of Bitcoin are adhered to. Yeah. So and then the other thing is banking, right? Like India is not an easy place to get banking for crypto businesses. And I think last month, I don't know if you noticed, the parliament issued like 30 or 35 crypto companies in India that they have vetted and they've given the green light to. And Unocoin, what I found really interesting in that list is that I think, if I'm not mistaken, the only company that had its company name and its brand be the same was Unocoin. Yeah,
Yeah.
because one of the jugad kind of things that a lot of people do in this space, they'll have a name of a company, IT professional, something, something, and then they'll have their real brand and they'll be disassociated. And in our view, a lot of the times that usually is to try and obfuscate kind of what they're doing, or maybe with banking or regulators. And to us, we believe in transparency, and so banking has not been an issue for us. Subtract the 2 years that we were in court against the RBI, but aside from that, Unocoin's had crypto withdrawals, banking, and we were, one of the, if not, I would say the first, right? Because even ZebPay, they launched maybe a year after us. They had another offering prior to us, right? So pay credit where credit is due. But Unocoin's been at that forefront, yeah, fighting the good fight. And so I'm really, really proud of our team. I'm really happy and grateful that our customers have been supporting us for so long. But expect great things. I think 2024, you're going to start to see an acceleration in terms of like at the pace that we innovate, the partnerships that we bring on board, the liquidity that we bring to our exchange. Um, and so I'm really pumped, and again, I don't want to name any particular companies, but a lot of the bigger global players, let's call them that, they've also been under a lot of, you could say, stress, right? Like they've been kind of backpedaling in other markets where they've been getting banned, and even in India, there was a recent thing in the parliament, them saying, look, international exchanges, you can't get away with not paying taxes and not following all the rules and regulations of the land. You've got to follow it. And so we think, and again, I don't want to name them, but some of the big exchanges have tried to launch in India and have shut shop and have left soon thereafter. And so India is a very, very tricky marketplace. It's obviously very exciting and interesting for a lot of companies, but yeah, we think, like I said, Unocoin, the next few years will be really, really exciting. And so if you're listening to this, if you're a customer, reach out. If you're, a potential partner, you need to access, let's say, our API, reach out. We have a lot of, international companies now exploring Unocoin's platform as like a partnership from partnership opportunities. Like I said, if you're looking to launch in India and you need a partner to do so, we could be potentially that partner. So again, I'll maybe pause there, but really excited, yeah, and just proud that yeah, I mean, most businesses don't even last, I don't think, 2 or 3 years. So the fact that we're not a regular business, we're a Bitcoin business in India with very strict financial regulations and in business 10 years later and thriving now is, I think, I don't know, very, very exciting. What do you think?
I am super excited, and honestly, with remember the last year when we did a little talk on where I wanted to understand about Unocoin and its history, right? I had just joined Unocoin and we were having this very little call, and you were telling me about it, and somehow the narrative, the way it ran through my head was magnificent. And the way it all started, the way you all stood up against all those things that were happening, way you guys believed in the technology and for the people thing. I am super excited to see and just unravel the picture where people are recognizing this fact, because a lot of people have now started. See, initially in India, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was seen as a scam, and you guys are better aware of this because you guys have been in the space for so long now. And I know you guys must have come across so many people calling it that. Now the scenario has changed. Like past couple of years, people were like, no, 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 it's something we can invest in. Now people are understanding the core basis of decentralization, the nature of Bitcoin. They're demanding self custody, a lot of people. And as this fire grows, it's just going to make everybody realize what is the core ethic of cryptocurrency and what was the initial motto when it was created. And we have here Shabab, who's seeing good information. Thank you so much, Shabab. You can keep following us for more such interesting AMAs. And to everyone else watching it out there, guys, अगर आप सवाल पूछते हैं, आप questions पूछते हैं, makes it super interesting for us to answer all of those questions and to interact with you. That just makes session more and more interesting. So just try and interact a little bit, give us a little opinion on what do you think about the current global or Indian scenario in terms of cryptocurrency. We'd love to know, and we'd love to chat a little on that. Okay, now, moving forward, Sunny, the approval is the big time anticipation for Bitcoin ETF with more than, I think, most of the people assuming it to be approved in January. But, news of ETF, we have seen historically that it has affected the price. Recently, there was a rumor as well. So, what do you think will be the impact of this approval happening? Like, I'm just very excited to see that.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. I mean, I always say I have a hard time predicting short-term movements in the price. Whereas I find I'm pretty good at like the longer term picture. And I equate it to trying to predict the position of an atom inside of a glass of water. Like it's very difficult. You can't. Like atoms move very sporadically and like randomly. But if you said, Sunny, what will the temperature of this water be if I heat it up with some fire at this temperature in the next 5 minutes? I could probably tell you, because the aggregate movement of those atoms are a lot easier to predict. And it's like there's actually formulas that allow you to do so. So I think similarly with Bitcoin, as soon as you start saying, what is it going to be next month? I don't know. Some people say that the Bitcoin ETFs are already priced in. Some people say that the supply shock or the supply limitation is also priced in, meaning like it's not that next month the supply is going to, or next year the supply is going to reduce and nobody knows about it. Like everyone knows what the Bitcoin schedule looks like, right? So there is this thought that maybe the price, it's already priced in, yeah. And then once the ETF launches, maybe there isn't a significant move in the price. So I think it's probably better to mentally prepare for such a case, right? So you're not like, oh, Bitcoin's going to double in price and I'm going to, have a gamble in this. Instead, like we always say, right? Dollar cost average.
Yes.
Unocoin was one of the world's first, which I'm again very proud to say, Satvik and our team launched something called the systematic buying plan, which is essentially dollar cost averaging, or I guess rupee cost averaging would be more accurate. But it's a way to, every day or every month or every week, just buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Maybe it's like 500 rupees, maybe it's 50 rupees, right? But just something every day you pick it up. That's kind of the way to divorce yourself from the emotional roller coaster that Bitcoin brings. So what's going to happen? I mean, with that said, like with the caveat that, hey, nothing might happen, I do think something will happen because like I said, the Cathy Wood, right? I just read Tim Draper, who, by the way, is an investor in Unocoin. He led our Series A round, recently predicted a $250,000 price in 2024. Just imagine going from, what is it today, $50,000 or whatever, 40,000 to going to 250. Like that's a big, big jump. So again, I get excited when I hear people that are much smarter than me, much wealthier and whatnot, talk about, the promise of Bitcoin in the short term. And so that gives me a lot of hope. And I think the sentiment on the ground also is that, okay, Bitcoin's turned around. Okay, it's come up, whatever, 150% this year. But I don't think the party really begins until you pass your previous all-time high. So once we pass that $60,000 mark, I think that's when you'll have to keep an eye on it and see what happens. But in general, I think it's very bullish. Like I said, this, demand is up, supply is down. What more could you ask for?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we are having a few comments over here. Shabab is saying Unocoin is having one issue during KYC approval. Shabab, our customer support is always available for you. So just back in team, could you please provide the number so that we can contact them and get the issue resolved? Aditya here is saying approval is happening. Prices do not matter in short term. I think he resonates with you on that front. Okay. SPP is the easiest and the most stress-free way. Personally, buy BTC every single day on Unocoin. Thank you so much, VIV. Thank you, and we'd love to learn more about your experience. So let us know. Yeah. Oh, we have Ajit here from
Hey, superstar.
yeah, the superstar. Hi, Ajit. How are you doing? So, Ajit here is saying some say that ETF approval would lead to a sell the new situation. What do you think, Sunny? Good question.
I wonder if, I mean, I don't know if Ajit is down for it, but I wonder if we can share the restream link with him in the background. I don't know if that's possible, like to get him to see if he might want to join. That would be fun to speak with Ajit.
Absolutely. Ajit, if
Uh,
you're in, just let me know. I'll forward the
we
link.
can try. We can try. If not, it's okay. But I'll answer Ajit's question. Some say that the ETO it would lead to a sell the news situation. What do you think? Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean by it may be priced in, meaning some really smart people who can think in terms of second order thinking and all that kind of stuff. They go, hey, maybe this is a golden opportunity to sell the news. So what that means is once the news hits the world, the newspapers, then he says he'll be happy to join. So let's see if we can get Ajit a link to our
Yeah, I'll be doing that right now.
yeah, if not, let me know. I might be able to DM him on Twitter as well. But that'd be fun to speak with Ajit. But yeah, so I do think that's what, again, a lot of smart people are saying is like, okay, when that news hits the market, sell some Bitcoin or sell some crypto. To me, that's always a bit of a gamble, like a bigger risk, because the way Bitcoin operates, I don't know. I have never been able to time it, and I've been in this space for 10 years, and it's like anything I do that I think is smart, usually the opposite happens. Like Bitcoin is way smarter than me. So I don't know. I would be a bit scared to do the sell the news strategy. But like I said, if you've got capital, if you've got some maybe inkling that something big is gonna happen, as in the price might go up and then go down, maybe that's a strategy you want to look at. And and while I don't talk a lot about like trading and buying and selling and all that kind of stuff, Unocoin obviously is a brokerage and an exchange where you can set limit orders and market orders, and if you believe that that's what's going to happen, then yeah, you can execute that. And by the way, just maybe while Ajit is hopefully, by the way, if you guys are having trouble, I can
No, I
I
sent
can,
him a link
you
over
sent it
Twitter.
to him? Okay, great. Yeah, let's see if he can join. And anyone else as well. I see Aditya is here.
Yeah.
I've had some really good, conversations with Aditya. I like his outlook as well. If Aditya can come on, it'd be nice to, mix this up a little bit and get some conversation going.
Let me know, Aditya, if you're up for it. I'll share the link with you as well. And we're having a great time here. By the way, Jeet, if you're watching, I've shared the link with you over Twitter, DM, and WhatsApp as well. So just have a look, yeah? Okay.
We got
Now,
another good question. When will Bitcoin ETF roll in India, and what will be the GMP? What does GMP mean? I should probably know that, but I don't know what GMP means. But yeah, I don't think there's been a lot of news around a Bitcoin ETF rolling out in India. But stay tuned. Stay tuned. You never know. CME Bitcoin futures went live. Next market top view. Anyway, sorry, I'm just kind of losing myself in the comments here. But keep going. Yeah, I think Shambhavi, you had another question lined up.
so I have these people like in the comments. I think we can address them in the meantime. Okay, so I think you answered Bhavesh, who asked about Bitcoin ETF role in India. And there's Viv who's saying 2017 market top CME Bitcoin futures went live. Next market top futures BTC ETF went live. I'm optimistic but cautious for the spot ETF. I mean, yeah, kind of makes sense. What do you think, Sunny? Do you consider this factors as a past factor that kind of resulted in a pump, and ETF might do the same?
I think that's a good analysis. I mean, good observation, right? It's true, I guess, when the 2017 market top was achieved, CME, which is I don't know if you've heard of CME, but they're the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is ginormous. Like they're so big, they do so much volume. They're like a futures exchange. And so Bitcoin went live on CME, and people are saying, or Viv is saying that, you know, that marked kind of a top, and that was a big, you could say, coming to moment for Bitcoin. And it was interesting because that was when you know, CME listed it. So, and they're saying, okay, well, that's when we saw the last high, and now futures, you know, BTC ETFs, as they're going live, this might mark the next top. Maybe I don't know. I think it resonates, as what I'll say, but again, as I keep saying, you know, the future never equals the past. And you know, this is obviously, even though Bitcoin's been around for 10 years, I personally tell my friends and family, don't put more money into Bitcoin than you can afford to lose. I talk to a lot of the really, really smart people in Bitcoin. Even they, as much as we believe in it and love Bitcoin, will always say it's still experimental. Like it's early days. Don't, you know, bet the farm or your retirement money on Bitcoin. You know, be wise in that sense. And like I said, you know, the best is to just is to play it calm, cool, dollar cost average. And you know, we had a really interesting conversation, the last one we had as well, where we talked about not just like what is Bitcoin and why is Bitcoin so exciting, but like how do you get Bitcoin? Like how do you actually set up your life in a way where you get your hands on Bitcoin? Yeah. And oh, we got Ajit here as well, so let's bring him on.
Hi Ajit, how are you doing today? For the people, guys, Ajit is a very famous personality in the world of crypto, and he's also the founder of Reflexical, which is another interesting project that's happening around. Hi Ajit, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I just accidentally logged in and saw Sunny talking about this very burning topic, or rather, let's say, popular topic. So I just thought I'll just drop by.
Absolutely. I'm
Glad you did.
great having you here. So, okay, we are having some of the questions here, and I think Ajit, I'd love to hear your opinion on these as well, because absolutely listening from an expert is always the best thing. So, Ajit, we've seen in the past that a lot of regulatory restrictions have been happening around GBTC and stuff like that, who have tried to, initially launch a thing like ETF, but were not successful. But then the Supreme Court of, I think, the SEC over there, they came up with another theory, and now it's streamlined in a way to get approved. What do you think about this whole scenario, and how do you think that will affect the market and the retail consumers?
Three things. Number one, when GBTC fell at a 39, 40 plus percent discount to BTC, I actually started investing in GBTC as opposed to BTC. Now, that was a very risky move because there's nothing that says that the discount stops at 40% and can't go to 60 and 80 or whatever percent. However, now that the discount has narrowed down to like 5%, I'm still owning that GBTC, which has given me a greater return than BTC. But I'm now feeling that that 5% is not worth it. As in, I should now sell and move to BTC. Second, about the regulatory aspect, see, one of the crypto has always been a regulatory nightmare. But I think that just saying that at a very high level and not distinguishing between Bitcoin, some other coin which is in the nature of a security, some crypto exchange, some financial service around crypto, which may be called DeFi. I think these are very, very different animals. It is almost like saying that the police is against people. Sure, police is against some type of people, and still more against still some other type of people. So I don't like this broad brush of there being a regulatory problem. For instance, I haven't yet seen a regulatory problem with Bitcoin. Yes, the Bitcoin ETF is not a problem, right? So, as in, it's not as if somebody has said that Bitcoin is wrong or that Bitcoin is a security. Even Gary Gensler says that it is not, right?
Yes.
While he keeps not wanting to talk about Ethereum. So I think that at least from Bitcoin's point of view, unless you took the approach that this entire paradigm of blockchain and blockchain based assets is going to go away. Suppose you took that view, then I can't debate with you. But if you did take that view, then Bitcoin seems to be really clear. And the fact that there might be a spot ETF approved actually makes it probably a once in a generation opportunity. But again, I'm not saying that Bitcoin will go 100x. while some shitcoin might go 100x. But if you consider the risk as well as the possibility of return, it is an extraordinary opportunity.
It is indeed. And I see the market sentiment just moving in that direction, and everybody is just so excited about that. Here we have 99 in the comment section
Hey,
who's saying,
Shambhavi, do you mind if we double down? I wanted to ask Ajit. So Ajit, you just kind of briefly
absolutely.
brought up Ethereum, but I'm just curious, like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, do you see it as a security as per the Howey test, or do you not, and why? And what do you think the future of Ethereum is, given that it's the number 2 asset, in the space?
Okay, so two separate things. What do I think about Ethereum, and what do I think about Ethereum being a security? Right now, if we just take the simple thing that was it sold to fundraise, and the people who bought it, did they buy it with an intention of profit? All of those do look like security, and I must say I'm not a lawyer. I would like to be one, but I'm not. However, the counter argument comes in the form of, hey, there is no owner, it's a decentralized thing, right? Now, Mr. Howey did not envisage decentralization, right, as in distribution of ownership or lack of ownership, as in the case of Bitcoin, right? In light of that, a case could be made that it is reasonable to say that Bitcoin is not a security, though Howey test may indicate that it is, right? That people are trying to make money by investing in Bitcoin and the effort of others, etc. So very difficult to say. I think a very rigid implementation of Howey's test does, as in I think Ethereum cannot escape being a security. But if you start looking at things like intent and present state and those sort of things, then the case could be made that it is not. Do I like Ethereum in general other than the security bit? We never bring Bitcoin into this discussion, but if suppose the discussion was Ethereum versus Solana versus Matic versus Avalanche versus what have you, I think that there is no doubt that at present Ethereum is the absolute biggest in terms of power, transaction value, TVL, ecosystem, etc. But the reason I named the others is to point out that it is doing great in comparison with others. It is that that there is a proverb in most languages in the world that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed is the king. I know of multiple languages which have this proverb. So in light of that, given that a lot remains to be lot is still desirable in terms of getting blockchains ready for showtime, uh, whether the present blockchains, such as Ethereum and some of the others I named, will actually rise up to the challenge and deliver, or whether there will be a new blockchain which doesn't yet exist and come and take on the incumbents, that remains to be seen.
And do you think Bitcoin can be that? Like, I mean, I'm not a huge
Yeah,
fan of stacks, but stacks, you got
correct.
liquid,
There are many. Yeah.
you're getting some sort of like ability to do Turing complete programmability, blah blah blah. Yes, it's on a second layer kind of situation, but do you think Bitcoin could step into that? And again, given Ethereum, you saw staking, we have seen in terms of Bitcoin price a reduction, right, in terms of like the prominence or the dominance is what they call it, I think, right? I'm just curious, do you think Bitcoin could step into that light, or is that impossible in your view?
It's definitely not impossible, but so the way the functionality of the blockchain has arisen, whether we look at DeFi and its various functions, whether we look at transactions, online gaming, on-chain gaming, etc. Today, architecturally, the world seems to be moving away from Bitcoin being that chain. However, there is an alternative architecture. That alternative architecture says, why does everything need to be reported to the on-chain, to be written onto the ledger? Why can't we do a bunch of stuff on the side and then we write or use the underlying consensus mechanism when it is required? Very interestingly, if you look at a lot of the chains they are talking about, we'll have app chains. That means each app will have its own chain, roll-ups, layer twos. There's a discussion of layer threes and the like. The moment you are agreeing to this modularized approach, well, then Bitcoin is as good as any, maybe much better, because it is the most decentralized, the most powerful, etc. I think that if, and by the way, somebody could say that you can't be truly decentralized if stuff is happening on the side, whether it's side chain, roll up, layer 2, etc. But the fact is that these current architectures are anyway not giving us the bandwidth or reliability that we want. So why don't we just accept that the world is going to run that way? And just like we had client server architecture, or multi-modular architecture. I don't see why Bitcoin can't be that. And frankly, given that Bitcoin has achieved a very significant acceptance compared to everybody else, including Ethereum, I think Bitcoin. Uh, I would be very happy if Bitcoin is the chosen one.
True, true. I mean,
Shambhavi, do you mind if I ask Ajit another question, or do we have people bombarding us with other questions they want to ask him?
no,
Oh,
no.
don't forget, Ajit has a dog named Bitcoin. Is that true?
Yeah.
Not just do I have a dog named Bitcoin. He's right next to me. I don't
Hey,
think this
let's
can
get
turn
him in the
around, so I'm
interview.
actually going to show you the dog.
Oh,
This
nice.
this is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Oh no. Oh
Cute.
wow. Yeah, he looks like a hodler for sure.
Well, and he's there is gold, there is digital gold, and then there is Bitcoin, the golden retriever.
The
Good
third
one.
one is the cutest.
Good one. Yeah. Oh, maybe
Yeah.
I'll come back to my questions. Shambhavi, do you want to hit him up with some of your
Please,
questions, or
you
yeah?
can.
Okay. Well, I wanted to take a walk down memory lane. Ajit, you've done many things in the crypto space, Reflexical. But I don't know if many people know you were also the man at the charge, right, at ZebPay, which I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and I've said many times that Mahin, the original co-founder, was one of the first people that ever got me into Bitcoin. And in fact, I have a story where I shared a few times where when Mahin started Buy Sell Bitcoin and Mr. Bitcoin, I called him one day. I said, Mahin, like, hire me. I'll come clean your floors. Like, just anything, buddy. Like, I love your company. I love you. Give me an opportunity. And initially he said, yeah, it's a good idea. Let me think about it. Yeah. And then I think a month or two later, he said, Sunny, why don't you just start a company? You've got Satvik, Harish, you've got all these people in Bangalore, and we build the industry together. Yeah. And I always thought that was such a, that was like a big moment in my life, because it kind of, forced me to start Unocoin. And so at one point, you could probably say at one of the, I don't want to call it scary, but it was like definitely a scary period, right? In the 20s, whatever, 17, 18 range, where you took control of, one of the top companies in India. So I don't know, do you want to share any stories along those lines? I mean, we don't have to, but I'm just curious.
Given that I'm not part of that company anymore,
Mm.
I don't want to reveal their information, but I'll just tell you this, Shambhavi, this is for you.
Uh-huh.
So when you go back to the 15-14 period when Sunny started Unocoin, and Mahin had already been running Buy Sell Bitcoin, which was India's first crypto exchange, but then it shut down. So Unocoin and ZebPay both claim they are India's oldest exchange. And surprisingly, they are both right. I'll tell you how. Indeed, of all the existing exchanges, Unocoin is the oldest, right? But the way Zeppe saw it was that Zeppe thought, you know what, there was a buy sell Bitcoin, and then we made it Zeppe. So if you start from buy sell Bitcoin, then Zeppe becomes the oldest, right? So it's interesting that we have two oldest exchanges. But one thing is that, so I got into Zeppe in March 18, just 13 days before RBI decided that it did not want to do business with us. And for 2.5 months preceding that, I was heading the crypto body, the blockchain and cryptocurrency committee, which became famous later because this was the one that won the Supreme Court case against the Reserve Bank of India circular. But much before I joined ZebPay, because I joined ZebPay in like March 18, right? Sunny Ray of Unocoin, Sunny Goenka of ZebPay, and whole host of others actually set the path for Indian crypto. And the great successes that we now hear of coming from Web3, DeFi, crypto exchanges, and the like, even if they don't know it, they are standing on the shoulders of what these guys built, right? They laid the ground, they went through the hassle, the legal, the if you say there are regulatory hassles today, Shambhavi, not that I want to list even one incident, because you can see the battle scarred look on Sunny's face. I Without even listing one incident, let me say the existing exchanges at that point went through hell. They went through hell, not just
Absolutely.
very weak footed, oh, regulatory lack of clarity. That time it was real pain that these guys went through. And in saying that, I'm not praising myself, because I got into it, like I said, March 18, but a lot of work. So when I came in, and I would look at somebody like Mahin, who Sunny also talked about right now, I would say, this is the OG, right? Very crazily enough, about a year or so after I got into crypto, people started calling me an OG. And I'm like, no, no, no. I know the OGs. As in, I know whose shoulder I am standing on. Right? Then what happened is people who had like attended some workshop of mine, 6 months into that, they started getting called OGs. And now it is like, have you been in crypto since yesterday? You must be an OG, right? As in that it has become easy to be an OG, but there are real OGs, and I know some of them, and they are the ones whose shoulders we all stand on.
True.
Hey,
One.
Ajit, I have a question. Sorry, Shambhavi. Is buy sell Bitcoin the same company as Epay? Was it just a
No, no, it
brand
is clearly
change?
not. No, it's clearly not because buy sell Bitcoin was owned and run by Mahin only, right?
Hmm.
To be honest, I don't even know whether it was formed as a company. So,
Hmm.
which is why the case for Unocoin being India's oldest exchange is very strong.
Hmm.
However, when Mahin shut down buy sell Bitcoin, he then came across two other guys, Saurabh Agarwal and Sandeep Goenka, and they said, let us revive it. And this time around, they went about it far more formally. They made a new company, and that was basically it. The company is not named Zeppe, but the brand name was Zeppe. So to that extent, it really depends on where do you start from. But of all the
Yeah, yeah.
existing companies in India, there's no doubt that Unocoin is the oldest.
Yeah, I love that story. Yeah, and no, I'm not gonna contest that because Mahin, oh my God, when I see him at conferences, he gets a big bear hug because I acquired my first Bitcoin from him. So if anyone's wondering who really brought Bitcoin itself to India, it's I can't hold a torch to Mahin. And yeah, and because of these maybe back and forth a bit, there's been I think Unocoin can also hold that mantle. But look, for us, is like if we don't have multiple companies, you don't really have an industry. Yeah. And it's a lot
Yes.
easier for bad guys, whatever, regulate to take down one company. But when you have an industry, it becomes a bit more. So
Yes.
yeah, nothing but love for you guys. Shambhavi, sorry, I keep hogging everything. Do you want to ask him some questions? I'm so sorry. I just
Absolutely,
don't. Yeah.
absolutely. Because I've been waiting for it, and I know, after a long time when OGs get together, it gets into a very interesting discussion. And I was just enjoying, honestly, I was really enjoying. But I think before I have a question, there's somebody in the comment section. Okay, we have Viv who's asking, oh, wow, I'm loving this conversation. I got into crypto in 2017 and been through the highs and lows, but feels awesome to hear the stories from Indian OG crypto. I completely feel you, Web, because I feel the same right now. And it's so interesting. And I think we could do more of these. Ajit, if you have some time on your hand, we'll do it more. And it's so interesting to listen to these stories because, for me, I was not a part of the industry back then, but I always used to be on a news, pursuing a career in journalism. I was very keen on learning on what's happening. And this ban came. I heard about the stories around everything getting problematic, the Bitcoin ATM coming in, the RBI coming with other problems regarding it. So now that I hear it, being a part of the industry, it's thrilling for me. Like, it's legit very thrilling for me. And doing AMAs with you and Sunny is like a, what do I say, the golden opportunity of anything that I could get. So yeah, I have a bunch of questions for you, Ajit, and that is regarding the ETF itself. So, a Bitcoin ETF is inevitable, like everybody's saying. So, what do you think the timeline will look like for that?
Your question has the answer embedded in it. The inevitability is clear, the timeline is unknown. However, unless you know SEC, some bunch of people at SEC are playing the usual crypto pump and dump and have somehow pumped up the crypto price by saying this, there's just lots and lots of signals that the time might be now. There's a lots and lots of signals that the time might be now. And like I said, it's very difficult to read the regulator's mind, right? But as in, if I were to bet, I shouldn't say if I were to bet, given the bets I have placed in terms of recent investments, I have assumed that the Bitcoin spot ETF in the US is going to be a reality very, very soon. So ordinarily, I try to make a portfolio, which, by the way, everybody who's listening, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your
Yes.
own risk analysis, blah blah, all of that. This time around, I'm going almost exclusively on Bitcoin because I think that the reason you want to look beyond Bitcoin in general is because the sort of multiples that some of the much smaller cap coins can give you, Bitcoin would not be able to match. But then there's greater risk there. But I think that the risk return has totally moved in the favor of Bitcoin also being able to give you a pretty high return with much lower risk. So I'm betting that there will be a spot ETF days and weeks from now.
I think if I could say that, if I had a wish, I would make that wish right now, because I'm so bullish on it and the kind of impact it'll bring. Now, talking about the impact, Sunny and Ajit, this is a question for both of you. What do you think? Because ETF will be opening Bitcoin's market to a wider audience. A lot of people would be participating in it who have not been in the space for so long. Do you think this will also legitimize Bitcoin in the global financial scenario?
Go ahead,
Sunny,
Ajit.
no, no, you go ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was looking at BlackRock ranked as a function of like the amount of money they manage in comparison to countries. And I think after the US and China, BlackRock falls third. So, and again, I'm trying to really taper my excitement around BlackRock, because BlackRock is like a bit of a double-edged sword, right? Where it's like, oh my God, it doesn't get better or bigger than this, but it's also, it doesn't get, badder in some respects. Like, I think Bitcoiners have this healthy kind of suspicion towards institutional large players, right? And I don't know what kind of jugad can they play now with all this control and all this might. I don't know. So I think I while I feel super excited, and I think, okay, Larry Fink is like literally in many ways the face of the financial institutional system. I get a little bit worried because things like gold, for example, when you study that, you go, okay, wait. Even with a gold standard, there's this capacity to hypothecate and for banks to print money and do all these things. So is that where Bitcoin is going, where they're going to just bring it in, not allow people to take Bitcoin possession? Oh, I think we lost Ajit. And then all of a sudden it's going to become, some other beast. Are they going to have like outsized control and power over it? I don't think so. And I don't like, just if you understand how Bitcoin works and how it's decentralized and there is no central point of decision making, I think I feel that Bitcoin is prepared for this. But at the same time, I think it's probably wise to be a bit, hesitant about its optimism and just taper the excitement a little bit, because this is uncharted territory. Yeah. But then when I hear people like Kathy Wood and Tim Draper and all these people saying, no, Bitcoin's, going to go to 250K, $1 million, I go, okay, well, these people obviously know a lot about the financial system. And so maybe that possibility does lie. And like I said, I think the best is, Ajit was suggesting selling the news and whatever, but personally, I've always failed at trying to time the markets. And I think the best is just look at Bitcoin as a saving technology. I don't think there's anything better. I don't think anything better will arise anytime soon. And if it does, I will be the first to admit it, to say, hey, oh my God, I think Bitcoin is going to get surpassed by XYZ coin. I don't see that happening because of network effects. Again, because of the kind of the intellect that resides behind Bitcoin. It's almost unimaginable. And a lot of the people like Ajit who've been in the space for 5-6 years, you heard him yourself saying, look, I'm going to be betting on Bitcoin. Yeah. But he obviously knows about Ethereum and Solana and everything else. Why would he say that? Again, my sense is that the smartest people in the room have gotten the memo, and that memo is hodl Bitcoin, yeah, or dollar cost average into Bitcoin.
100%. And yeah, use SPP for that. I do that personally. And trust me, that's the best thing to do. With my aim is with Satvik, with you, I think with Satish at times. I keep telling people, if you don't understand this completely in order to time the market from a trader's perspective or a full-time investor perspective, just use SBP. Like, it's the most tension-free way, the easiest way. Put some money. Oh, we have Ajit back here, and Ajit, like we were discussing about the same question I asked like a few minutes ago. So, what's your opinion on that?
So first, Sunny, when I asked you that question about sell the news, I was saying that with a lot of anger, spite, and frustration. I'm not in the favor of that. In fact, I'm against that, because one of the things that a lot of people who have predominantly been in stock market, they have no choice but to try to extrapolate their stock market learning into the crypto market, right? So, for example, suppose you were to think that the CEO of a very large company might resign. Suppose this is the rumor, and this is then causing the price to fall. And then finally, what happens? The CEO resigns, right? So you could now say, so buy the rumor, sell the news. The thing is that the CEO's resignation or any other such news in the stock market by itself does not cause the change in the sales, the revenues, the profitability, etc. It is that it leads to that, and then that leads to the stock price. So hence you are dealing with news and rumors. But when it comes to Bitcoin ETF, the presence of an ETF does not change Bitcoin one bit. Bitcoin does not know that it has an ETF, right? The founder of Bitcoin does not care. The technology of Bitcoin doesn't change. So, in reality, I think that people are missing the fact that really what is going to change with the spot ETF in the US is that we are expecting more people to enter the market. When more people enter the market, what happens is that demand goes up. Maybe sellers start feeling, you know what, price might go up further, so supply may go down. That means you could have a double whammy of demand going up and supply going down, which could create a very significant hike in price, at least for the short term, because the reverse can also occur. That, then the price goes up to such a point that people say, you know what, I might as well sell, and there's no new demand coming in and supply goes up. But this is a game, right? This is not the reality of why we are in Bitcoin, right? Other than Bitcoin only, okay, there is no NFT, there is no token, there is no nothing, which if I purchase at a certain price, let's say the price now is 42,000, let's just randomly say it goes up to 84,000, so it doubles. Let us say I don't sell it and it falls back to 42,000. Often happens, right? Because you want more, because somebody, John McAfee, said it's going to be $1 million per token, etc. It is only in the case of Bitcoin that I don't mind this. Of course, I wish that I had caught the peak, as in there's no doubt about it. But when it falls, I go, you know what? I have. See, Bitcoin makes noise. Can you hear Bitcoin? You cannot silence Bitcoin. Bitcoin, relax. He's like, why is everybody continuing to take my name? And he's like, nobody's looking at me, but they keep saying my name.
That's funny. That's funny. That's cute.
Yeah, so though I might miss the peak, it is not as if I would have, my opportunity just gets delayed because it will come back. The definition of a bull market is that the previous ATH, all time high, gets tested. At a market level, there is always a new bull market. But at the asset level, it is not necessary that all assets in the market will rise beyond their previous all time high. In fact, many will not. Probably in the case of crypto, 95% will not. I don't list Bitcoin. I don't see Bitcoin as possibly being in that 95%. So I might have to wait more, but then I'll sell at a still higher price than 84.4.
Ajit, resonating with what you just said, there's something that Satvik always says, because, I'm this person, I'm new to this, like, not a lot you, but still, like, as compared to you people, I'm still very new. And I keep saying that, okay, you have to keep waiting, you have to, you shouldn't have FOMO, things like that. And there's one thing that Satvik mentions very often, that you shouldn't sell it at all. And this is something that Sunny also says very often. Just leave it be. And, you never know, it'll grow in price to an extent that you wouldn't have even imagined. And I think because of my ABs, now I'm very bullish on this, and I keep just hodling it, and I wish to never sell it, honestly. I'm like, because thanks to Sunny and Satvik and people like you, I keep meeting. And
I was on a podcast with Sunny. I don't know if he still runs it. But in that podcast, not just did he say to me what he said to you, that never sell it, he said something like, when the earth is no more, when the earth is over, even then there'll be Bitcoin.
well, yes, Sunny's optimism on Bitcoin is much known, and all of our audience. So this is a thing with Sunny, and all of our APs with him are Bitcoin specific, because we know how bullish he is with Bitcoin particularly. Now, Ajit, yeah,
No,
Sunny.
sorry, Shambhavi, continue. I think we're at the end. So yeah, continue. Go ahead.
So before we end the session, just one quick question, Ajit. Like I asked Sunny, with the Bitcoin ETFs coming in, it's opening market. It's opening the doors of a Bitcoin holding, or not exactly holding, let's say, to Bitcoin for a wider audience. And would that impact the global legitimacy of Bitcoin in the financial market? What do you think about that?
Two quick, two short answers. Number one, the biggest thing it will do, when you say it opens the doors, yes, people who have brokerage accounts can now buy it, etc. But one of the things that the engineers in this space did not do a good job of was that they did not make it easy for people to come in. Some did, but otherwise, all of this private key and hardware wallet and all this thing actually has been quite a turn off for a lot of people. And when I started studying Bitcoin in 2014, I'm sorry, uh, this is what prevented me from first taking it. I was like, I don't even know how to get it. When I get it, where would I store it? It's pretty silly. So first, it'll make it easy for people to come in. Now, as far as the legitimacy is concerned, whether it was the crash of early 18 where Bitcoin went from 20,000 to 3,000 in a year, whether it was Sam Bankman-Fried or before that Terra Luna or all of these other crypto things, every time such a thing happens, people say, oh, crypto is over now. Crypto is a
Yeah.
thing of the past. Whenever there's a stock market crash, people don't say that stocks are over because they're
Yeah.
like, what would it mean to say stocks are over? Are there going to be no businesses? Is there going to be no commercial enterprise? Are there going to be no owners? So there people realize that you can't say stocks are over, right? But in crypto, people would believe that crypto will be over. In fact, since I have been instrumental to many hundreds, the real number might be somewhere between 2 and 500 people becoming angel investors in India, angel investors in the stock, in private stock. When they found out that I had now started developing an interest in crypto, or what we would call only Bitcoin at that point of time, their opinion was that Bitcoin is stupid, but startup investment is good. And I was the guru who got them into startups. So they couldn't come and tell me that I'm being stupid, though they thought so. Right? I think that really when the ownership of economic opportunity of Bitcoin, because really buying an ETF is not really owning Bitcoin in the sense you get the economic outcome, I agree, but you don't get all the other outcomes that some more deeply engaged people may want. So I think that when the ownership of the economic outcomes of Bitcoin become very widespread, I think they could double in a year or two after the ETF. Yes, people there's a joy in large numbers, right? People would feel that hey, it can't be that bad. It's not going to shut down now.
I think we are still early to the technology, and I love the fact just today I posted this tweet saying that, I love the fact that I got into the space so early and that I'm getting to enjoy all these early bird benefits. And it is interesting. And I think with the upcoming ETF as well, it's just going to be a blast. I think I can't find a better terminology to describe what's going to happen after an ETF. But
And Shambhavi, what about Argentina? I'm just saying, like El Salvador was the big news a year ago, and now you've got Argentina, which is I think 20x the GDP. Now, a lot of people say this Javier guy is a bit of a crazy nut, but it's like that's the kind of nut I like. Like a guy who's talking about Bitcoin, and who knows if that'll spill over to other countries. So I think we're in a very exciting time. Hey, Ajit, thank you so much for coming on this, man. Really appreciate it. Would love to have you on again. Yeah, it really spices it up.
Thank you very much.
yeah, I
Thanks.
mean, it was so interesting for me, especially because I got to learn so many new things and got to know about so many new things from the past. And thank you so much, Ajit, for joining in. Thank you so much, Sunny, for being here. And it will be great to have you guys again. Thank you, everyone who joined this AMA. Just keep following us. We'll be back again next week. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.